You're not bad at Fortnite. You're just focusing on the wrong thing. Every single day, thousands of players grind creative maps for hours, practice aim trainers, and spend their nights watching pro gameplay, trying to copy their movement, their edits, their builds. Yet somehow, nothing changes. They might start editing faster, hitting slightly better shots, or winning a few more fights. But when it comes down to actual progress, they're all still stuck in the same spot. And if that sounds like you, I want you to understand something important. And once you do, everything else starts clicking. Your mechanics feel smoother, your aim gets sharper, and your decision making finally starts making sense. Because the real difference between average players and pros has never been about how much they play. It's how they think while they play. That's what today's video is about. The one mental shift that transforms grinders into pros. And real quick before we hop into the video, only 10.5% of all of you watching right now are actually subscribed. So please subscribe to help me reach 50k subscribers by the end of this month. All right, back to the video. When you watch the best Fortnite players in the world, it almost doesn't feel real. Every move they make seems intentional, calm, and perfectly timed. They never panic, they never overbuild. They always seem to know exactly what to do in every situation. Their gameplay looks effortless, like they're playing in slow motion while everyone else is rushing and reacting. And that right there is what separates them. It's not just their skill, it's their mindset. The way they approach the game mentally is completely different from how the average player does. Most players believe improvement comes from grinding harder, more hours, more maps, more fights. But pros know it's about grinding smarter. They don't waste a single second. Every game, every fight, every warm-up has a purpose. They play the game like it's a puzzle they're constantly solving. They're aware of their weakness, intentional with their training, and relentless when it comes to learning from failure. Meanwhile, the average player gets stuck in what I call the grind loop, playing for hours without reflection, making the same mistakes over and over and over again, and convincing themselves that more playtime automatically equals progress. But the truth is, you can play 10 hours a day and stay at the same player forever if you never stop to think about what you're actually doing wrong. Pros don't make that mistake. They approach Fortnite like a science experiment, always testing, tweaking, and improving. That mindset, the ability to think like a learner instead of a grinder, is the one thing that changes everything. Now, let's go deeper into what this mindset actually means. Most players hear the word mindset and immediately think of motivational quotes, things like believe in yourself or trust the process. But that's not what we're talking about here. Mindset in Fortnite is about mental structure, the way you think during fights, after deaths, and through pressure. It's the mental system you build that dictates how fast you can learn, how you handle failure, and how consistent you become. Let's start with the first major shift, how pros handle failure. When an average player dies, their immediate reaction is frustration. They get mad, they blame Bloom, they complain about ping, or they call the other player lucky. They queue up instantly without thinking twice, and by doing that, they skip the most valuable part of improving, the moment after failure. That emotional reaction is what keeps them stuck, because when your brain is emotional, it stops analyzing. It shuts off the part of your mind that learns. But pros are the opposite. They take every single death as data. When they die, they don't rage. They study. They ask, why did I die? Was it positioning? Did I overpeak? Did I not have enough info before pushing? Every mistake gets broken down. They don't take losses personally, they take them professionally. They treat every fight like feedback, and that's the first step to thinking like a pro. Stop blaming the game and start analyzing yourself. The easiest way to apply this is simple. Record your gameplay. After every session, rewatch 1 or 2 of your deaths. Don't overanalyze, just pick one mistake you made and make that your goal to fix it next time. Maybe you died from poor positioning. Maybe you ran out of mats too early. Maybe you took an unnecessary peek. Identify one problem and attack it until it's fixed. Do that every day for a week, and I promise you'll see massive improvement faster than you ever thought possible. Now, let's talk about how pros think during fights. What makes their gameplay look so different is they're not reacting, they're predicting. They're proactive players. The average player fights on instinct, constantly reacting to what their opponent does. But pros fight like chess players. They're always thinking 1 or 2 moves ahead. If they hit someone for 120, they already know what's coming next. They expect that player to box up or panic build, and they're already moving into the position that punishes that reaction. It's not luck, it's just very good awareness. They've seen these patterns 1,000 times, so they can predict them before they even happen. That's what makes their fights look so smooth. You can start training the same awareness by observing your fights differently. Pay attention to what opponents do after you hit them. Notice their patterns, how often they build, when they run, how they reset. Once you start recognizing these trends, fights will start slowing down for you. You'll stop reacting and start controlling the fights. You'll know when to push, when to wait, and when to bait movement. That's what pros do. They control the chaos by thinking ahead. The third part of this mindset is how pros train. See, average players grind until they're tired. Pros grind until they've learned something. There's a huge difference. A lot of players think improvement comes from repetition, but repetition only works if it's intentional. If you do 1,000 edits a day without paying attention, you're just reinforcing your current habits, good or bad, usually bad. But if you slow down, notice what feels off, and fix it intentionally, that's when you actually start building muscle memory the right way. Pros never just warm up. Every edit, every aim drill, every box fight has a purpose. If something feels inconsistent, they isolate it and fix it. They also rotate their practice. They don't spam the same maps over and over. They mix aim duels, piece control, reaction maps, and real games to keep progress balanced. You have to remember, practice doesn't make perfect. Perfect practice makes perfect. So every time you load into creative, ask yourself, what am I working on right now? If you don't have an answer, you're not improving. You're just grinding without any real intention. But mindset isn't just about thinking. It's about emotional control too. And this might be the biggest skill of all. Fortnite is chaotic. You'll get third-partied, bloom fried, or lag right before a kill. And when that happens, it's easy to lose composure. The problem is, the moment you let emotions take over, your gameplay and your mentality collapses. You start building too much, missing shots, rushing plays, and pros know this, which is why they train themselves to stay calm under pressure. They've built something called performance focus, the ability to ignore what they can't control and focus only on what they can. When something unlucky happens, they don't tilt, they just adapt. They instantly ask, what's the best play right now, and move forward. They play in the moment. That ability wins more fights than mechanics ever could. If you want to build that habit, try this. Every time you die to something unfair, pause for 5 seconds before queuing again. Ask yourself, could I have done anything differently? If the answer is yes, fix it next game. That one habit can completely change the way you approach the game. But next is self-awareness and game IQ, something every pro has mastered. The best players don't just understand their mechanics, they understand the entire game. They know where to land for optimal loot, how to rotate based on storm pulls, and how to manage mats in different zones, and how to control timing in fights. But here's what most players don't realize, they didn't learn all that at once. They learned it by isolating one thing at a time. The average player tries to fix everything at once. Aim, builds, edits, positioning, decision making, and then gets overwhelmed and gives up. But pros focus on one thing until it becomes second nature. If your early game is weak, make that your priority. Once you master that, move to mid-game rotations, then late-game consistency. That focused approach compounds over time and builds a complete player much faster than random grinding ever could. Finally, there's handling pressure, the part that separates casuals from champions. Everyone can play well in creative, but when it's tournament time, when the pressure is high, when every move matters, that's when mindset becomes everything. Most players crumble in high-pressure moments because they never trained for them. Pros, on the other hand, simulate tournament stress in practice. They play scrims like it's finals, they visualize clutch moments before they even happen, and that's how they stay calm when the game is on the line, because they've already been there mentally. You can train this too. Next time you practice, add pressure. Pretend it's your last game of the tournament. Tell yourself this is the fight that decides the win. You'll start feeling nerves. That's good. The more you practice under pressure, the less it affects you when it's real. Confidence isn't built through hype. It's built through preparation. The more you train your mind to perform under stress, the more unstoppable you become. So here's the truth. The difference between you and a pro isn't mechanics, aim, or ping. I mean, it could be, but it's most likely not. It's mindset. Most players lose not because they're bad, but because they make emotional decisions. They overpeak because they're frustrated. They panic build because they're scared. They rush fights because they want revenge. But pros don't do that. They stay calm, patient, and strategic. Every move they make is deliberate, and that's why they win consistently. So when I say change this one thing, I mean stop thinking like a grinder and start thinking like a learner. A grinder repeats the same routine, expecting better results. A learner questions everything until they find what actually works. You have to stop chasing that temporary feeling of improvement, like, oh, I'm hitting my edits faster, and start chasing real, lasting growth. That's where pros live. Once you make that switch, the way you play completely changes. You stop getting frustrated over small mistakes and start treating them as opportunities. You stop comparing yourself to others and start comparing yourself to yesterday's version of you. And once you do that, improvement becomes automatic. It's no longer about hoping to get better, it's about expecting it because you know you're learning faster than everyone else. And when your mindset changes, your entire game changes with it. You start editing smoother because you're not panicking. You aim better because you're relaxed. You rotate smarter because you're thinking ahead instead of reacting. You stop rushing situations you don't control and start taking calculated fights. That's what separates a decent player from a future pro. Going pro isn't about having perfect mechanics. It's about having perfect control over yourself. Because if you can stay calm under chaos, learn from every mistake you make, and always stay intentional with your time, you'll grow faster than 99% of players out there. So here's what I want you to start doing today. Change your mindset. Stop playing emotionally and start playing intentionally. Record your games, study your mistakes, and stop treating losses like failures. Every time you die, take it as free feedback. Every time something goes wrong, look for what you could have done differently. Don't run from your weaknesses, attack them. If you can start doing that, you'll begin to fill your improvement stack day after day. You'll start playing with purpose, not just habit, and before you realize it, you'll look back and see just how far you've come. You don't need the best PC, you don't need zero ping, and you don't need a $200 mouse like I have. You just need to be the better player who learns faster. Because Fortnite isn't about who plays the most, it's about who learns the most from what they play. That's how you become a pro. It's not the hours, it's the awareness, it's the mindset. And if you actually want to take the next step, join my Flow Improvement Discord. It's 100% free. Inside you'll find resources that help you train smarter, drop maps, free coaches, ranked teammates, and players who all want the same thing, to improve. It's not just another random server, it's a real community built for players who want to grow. The link's in the description, and if this video helps you out, use code FLOW in the Fortnite item shop. It supports the channel more than you know. At the end of the day, going pro isn't just about skill, it's about discipline, it's about staying calm when everyone else tilts. It's about being obsessed with learning, not just winning. Change this one thing, your mindset, and you'll start improving in ways that shock you, because once you master your mind, you master your gameplay. Once you master your gameplay, you master your future. The grind doesn't make you a pro, your mindset does. Thank you guys for taking time out of your day to watch this video. I love you all, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace, guys.